no, not everything happens for a reason. I used to live very firmly in the belief that it does happen for a reason, everything. However, then I started questioning this belief the second that I made a choice that negatively impacted me. And I said, okay, if it's meant to be, it will be, and this is happening for a reason. And then I started thinking to myself, but is this really happening for a reason if I made the choice for it to happen this way? I made the choice for it to turn this way. So how will it happen for a reason if I made the choice? That's what got me questioning this belief of everything happens for a reason. And nowadays I'm realizing a lot of young people, specifically young teenage girls, live with the belief that everything happens for a reason. I'm seeing a lot less men and boys believe this, but at the end of the day, this does end up showing up in the fact that women tend to be a lot more emotional and men tend to be a lot more logical. And I started realizing that really it's just the power of my choices. Living with the belief for many years that everything happens for a reason led me to believe that my choices aren't of any significant importance, and that me and what I do in my present moment doesn't necessarily, no matter how much effort I may put into something, it may not lead to the results that I want because everything happens for a reason. It's a good belief to have because it's positive, but that's really the only good thing that comes out of it. Because the truth is that with that belief, I stopped believing that I am in control of anything. And I started really neglecting choices, and I started making wrong choices all of a sudden, because wrong choices as in choices that negatively impacted me, because I led myself to believe that my choices aren't of significant importance because everything happens for a reason. And if I make a choice that negatively impacts me, it's not because I made a negative choice, but it's because it was meant to happen that way. But it wasn't. That's the thing. I'm a Christian, and I believe that we've got free will, and ultimately, we have the power of choice. We have free will. We can choose to do something or we can choose not to do something. And however that impacts us, the choices of how it impacts us, that is literally all us. That's no longer, this is happening for a reason. Like you make a bad choice, like you start to have a really bad diet and then you have stomach problems. That's not because you were meant to have them, it's because you led yourself there with the choices that you made. And the only positive way you could look at it is realizing at that moment is that you made the wrong choices and that you've got to change the choices that you make. It depends on how you then look at the consequence of your choices. With the belief that everything happens for a reason, you lack the knowledge of and understanding of the importance of the choices that you make. I no longer really paid attention to the choices I was making. And in fact, I didn't really care because I believed that everything happened for a reason, and that no matter how much work I can put into something, if it's not meant to be, it will never be. And that I can never make something work if it wasn't in the books for me. But that's not the truth. The truth is we make and create our own lives through choices. We make our own lives. We create the life that we want to live. So no, not everything happens for a reason. A lot of the things that happen is because you were put in a position of choice and you made a choice that had a negative impact on you, and you have to deal with the consequences of your choice. Remember, consequences can be positive and they can be negative. Hence, we understand if something was a good or a bad choice. However, no, you had a bad diet and now you've got diabetes. It's not because you were meant to have them, it's because you led yourself there. You know, it's a very far-reached example, but that's what I mean. A relationship that you kind of wanted didn't work out. You and that person ultimately made the choices, you know what I mean? When it comes to everything happens for a reason, I like to associate that with things that are completely out of our control. You know, sicknesses and all this, like things like this. I believe that we can look at that as perspective of this is happening for a reason, because clearly there is a lesson we've got to learn or something. However, just you make a negative choice doesn't mean that now because you're dealing with the negative consequences of that choice, that doesn't mean that you were meant to go through these consequences. You led yourself through these consequences, and you now have to find a positive outlook on what you're dealing with. You've got to create positivity in the negative consequence that you have. You've got to look at it positively. It's about the choices that you make, and then about how you look at what and how you deal with the consequences of the choices that you made. I know I said the word choices probably like 5,000 times already, but that's because I really want you guys to understand that with the belief that everything happens for a reason, it ultimately only is going to hurt you, because you stop putting in the efforts because you think that, oh, I don't have any control over this moment. I only can just come into this with the instinct that what will be will be. Like, no, you can try your hardest and it can work out, but it can also not work out. And that is just because you've got to make a choice. Am I willing to put in 100%? And am I going to do it? It kind of ultimately cinches you back into reality, whereas everything happens for a reason takes you out of reality, you know, because you now just are like complete, like, hands out, I don't care what happens. I'm not in control of anything. But the thing is, you're in control of more than you think. By being undisciplined, by waking up and not doing your bed in the morning, and then you associate yourself with negative people, and you go out with negative people, and you drink all night and sleep all day, and then you are miserable and undisciplined, and you are jealous of the people that are actually achieving their goals, and you're comparing yourself, and then you are sitting there and being like, okay, whatever, this is happening for a reason. I've got to experience this. No, you and your choices led yourself there. Stop excusing your negative choices. Because with the belief that everything happens for a reason, you then are basically telling yourself, I can make these choices because everything that happens for a reason. Absolutely not. You are choosing to go through a miserable life. You're choosing that because you are making that life for yourself. You know, you are always one choice away from a totally different future. And these can be little things. Like, for example, not going on your phone as soon as you wake up, but getting out of bed and then going on your phone. Little things like that, they push you forward. And it's not because they happen for a reason. It's because you are making the correct choices to move on and move forward with your life. You've got to gain that control over your life back. Your life is complete. The course of your life can be in your control. You know, I'm not talking about sicknesses. I'm talking about things you can control. Your career, family, relationships. If you keep saying no to everyone, how do you expect to have a husband or a wife? If you say no to absolutely everyone and you don't even bother trying to find someone, but you want a relationship, but you're not bothered to look out for one, and you say no to absolutely everybody, and then you are sitting alone and you think to yourself, okay, this is happening for a reason. No, it's not happening for a reason. You are putting yourself in that spot. You're not looking. You aren't trying. This is what I just don't understand. But actually, no, I do understand, because I was in a very similar position. And that is, you're not putting in any work. And because you're not putting in any work and you're not making the correct choices for the life that you want, you are choosing all of this. And then you're sitting there and saying to yourself, okay, this is happening for a reason. No, it's not. You are making the incorrect choices. You've got to understand the control you have over your life. You've got to gain that back, because you are in control of creating your future. No one's going to create it for you. You are in the power of creating it. God gave you that power. You've got free will. You can absolutely try your hardest and do everything, or you can do nothing, sit there and believe that it will just come to you. Choose your player. Literally choose it. Red pill or blue pill. You've got to choose it. It's, once again, a choice, believe it or not. So I want you guys to, after this video, just kind of sit there and think to yourself, have I really been living with this mentality of everything happens for a reason? Just sit there and think, and really think about the choices. And then once you start getting out of that belief and you start entering the belief of my choices matter and I am in control, and no, half the shit that I'm going through doesn't happen for a reason, it's because I make bad choices, that's when you will sit there and understand the power of the present moment. You'll be a lot more present. You will also be a lot more just understanding of you know, you can try your hardest and it can work out. You know, things can work out for you. Like, for example, I watched Squid Games season 2 with my sister, and there was this one woman that was very spiritual, and there was this game, and in the game she was just like, I don't know, she was doing her spiritual shit, and she was just kind of sitting there, and, you know, oh, what's meant to happen will happen, and everything happens for a reason and stuff like that. And then she was not trying her hardest to actually win the game. She was just kind of sitting there and being like, oh, whatever happens, happens. Like, no. Stop it. Be present. Think. And actually understand that you are in control of the present moment right now. You have the choice to put in 100% of work. But no, she lives with the belief that everything happens for a reason and what's meant to be will be, when instead of the belief that I can put in 100% and I can make this work, or I don't have to make it work. It just really puts you back into reality and changes your perspective. So I kind of want you guys to come out with this video with the understanding that you and your choices are ultimately what shapes your life, and you are in control of the course of your life, because that was literally handed to you by God, and that you have the power to change it. And no, not everything happens for a reason. And stop excusing your bad decisions with the message that this was meant to happen and that this happens for a reason. No, you led yourself into this position, and now pay for it, basically. And yeah, I hope you guys understood my message in this video. It was quite all over the place, but I really hope that I kind of worded it well. If I didn't, please just comment down below and I'll refilm this and make it a little bit more structured. And also, I've got makeup all over my hands, but also down below in the description I will have my email linked for, I don't know, just my email. So guys, email me, and I hope you guys took something positive out of this video, and I really hope it helped you. And another little message that I want to put at the end of this video is that changing your beliefs is very hard, and I realized that it's really hard to change your belief system, because, you know, everything happens for a reason is a belief, it's a core belief, and to change that and understand how powerful your choices are and that you are in control is very, very hard. So don't expect for this to happen to like one day. I was living in misery for like a good month or so, just questioning everything, and yeah, but you are in control and you shape your future, and the best way to predict the future is to create your future. And, you know, kind of setting back into reality, you will truly make better choices because you will understand the power of them. So yeah, good night.